Another topic Pearson discussed were key events that happened throughout his childhood that led him to become the motivational speaker he is today. In a game that saw the Trojans score first and keep that lead all the way throughout the game, the Trojans finished this game 38-17 versus the South Alabama Jags.
The very same day of Cameron Stovall's accident, he was told alongside his parents that he would never see again. However, this was far from correct.
You're good, you're great, you're worth it.
These were just a few words spoken by motivational speaker Stanley Pearson II, who spoke to Troy University students in Crosby Theater on Wednesday night. Pearson was brought to campus by the University Activities Council. Dakari Johnson, president of the UAC, discussed the inspiration of bringing Pearson to campus.
Well, we actually had a convention UAC goes to, and it was in Orlando, and he spoke with us. He basically was trying to sell himself to us, not sell himself, but he spoke to everyone, and he was very inspirational, but he added a humorous twist to it when he got the crowd involved in a lot of it, and we thought it would be great for Troy to have someone like him, not just to, them get a laugh out of it, but actually learn something from what he has to say.
Another topic Pearson discussed were key events that happened throughout his childhood that led him to become the motivational speaker he is today.
Growing up, and especially while I was even through college, there was this, identity issue that I felt like I had. So it was like, I wasn't black enough for my black friends, too black for my white friends. And so it was that struggle. Cuando aprendí español, like when I learned Spanish, it was one of those like, oh, you're not even proud to be black, And I feel like everyone has that feeling where they're always trying to reach and grasp and connect with folks. But for everyone, it's not black enough. That's not their issue. Some folks, it's, smart enough, pretty enough, loved enough. Like it's that enough feeling. And I wanted to make sure that I use that message to connect with everyone.
Johnson also spoke on the message he hoped the audience left with.
When folks understand that they're worth it, and obviously that they're good and they're great, they'll be willing to consider all those other things we discussed for the previous hour. Like, am I worth all this goodness, or challenging myself, or challenging, am I worth growing? So if I drive that home, then that can be a reminder to everything else before.
Antonio Reese, TROY TrojanVision News. The Trojans now have bragging rights over South Alabama after securing the battle for the belt this past Tuesday following their 38-17 victory. From the starting drive until the very end, the Trojans never took their foot off the gas as they led the Jags the entire game. From offense to defense, both fired on all cylinders, coming up big and ultimately securing the belt for the Trojans. The Trojans scored not once, not twice, not even 3 times, but 5 different times in the first half to give them a hefty 31-17 lead going into the half. In a game that saw the Trojans score first and keep that lead all the way throughout the game, the Trojans finished this game 38-17 versus the South Alabama Jags. A key factor from that game came from quarterback Sawyer Smith, who contributed for 4 of the 5 touchdowns scored on the night. Smith goes on to discuss what worked for him in leading his team to victory.
Everybody around me. Damian Willis kind of started the game off for me and got me a lot of confidence right there with that. He made a really good play on the ball, caught a really good, made a really good play, just on his defender, just one-on-one. And after that, I had a lot of confidence. And then DeAndre Douglas caught the touchdown pass. And after that, it was kind of smooth. I wouldn't say smooth sailing. I didn't have a perfect game, obviously, but everybody around me played their tails off, and that really helped.
Smith also discusses how more posed he felt in his preparation this week compared to his start last week versus Liberty.
I was more confident in my preparation. I prepared really well. I think Coach Reagan, Coach Brown did a really good job staying on me all week. Our GA, Tyler Allen, he watched film with me every day, in between classes and everything. Just my preparation was really good this week, and I wouldn't say I didn't do a bad job at it the week before, but it was way better this week.
Wednesday morning, Troy University hosted its annual Helen Keller Lecture Series. This year marked the 23rd year the lecture has taken place on the campus of Troy University. The guest speakers for the event were a cornea transplant recipient named Cameron Stovall and the ophthalmologist who performed his operation, Dr. Robert Morris. Stovall was involved in a freak accident that caused him to lose one of his 5 senses for a period of time.
Keep it short, I was in a hunting accident. I lost my vision, and I've experienced a lot of things that I never thought I would experience. I was 26 at the time, and when all this happened, and I had 20/20 vision, I had a great job, and that adversity that I had when I woke up in the hospital and had no vision, had tubes down my throat, it was shocking to me.
The very same day of Cameron Stovall's accident, he was told alongside his parents that he would never see again. However, This was far from correct.
Stovall recovered with his parents right by his side. His mother, Mary, discusses how her son came into contact with Dr. Morris.
We actually had seen several doctors, probably 5, 6, 7 doctors in the ICU who had determined that Cameron would not have any vision at all. He would be totally blind the rest of his life. And then Dr. Morris came on the scene, and he did his first surgery about 7 days after the initial accident.
Well, Cam had shotgun pellets enter and exit both eyes. And one eye, the pellet went out through the optic nerve, so that eye didn't have a chance. In the other eye, the pellet went out adjacent to the optic nerve, so that eye we were able to get, after 17 operations, we were able to get back half his eyesight. And that makes a difference for the rest of his life. For the next 50 years of his life, he won't be walking with a white cane, he'll be walking on his own.
Stovall discussed how although he would love to have his eyesight back, he has been able to encourage so many people on a daily basis just by going through his accident and keeping a good attitude about the entire process of his recovery. Antonio Reese, Troy TrojanVision News. What are the odds one could sit in on a panel where the Jewish, Christian, Catholic, and Muslim faiths were all respectfully accounted for and listen to each member have a conversation on various topics of society? That was the case on Wednesday, where students had the opportunity to sit in on an interfaith symposium in Hawkins Hall.
We had a symposium on the community, diversity, and justice. And this symposium is the first in a series of symposia, fora, and a variety of talks that we will be holding here on campus. And the goal is to engage the Troy community with our larger community, the Alabama community, the community of the United States, and the global community, on issues that are very, very serious, that we deal with on a daily basis, but we are unwilling to talk about them.
Religion is a topic that is viewed differently across the world and opinionated by many. Throughout the symposium, the panel were asked challenging questions that involved them to speak from their respective beliefs.
We spoke about issues of diversity, issues of how we see the other and how we see ourselves in relationship to the other. So that dealt with issues of justice as a broad perspective and diversity. It dealt with issues of community. We spoke about issues of refugees. We spoke briefly about the sanctity of human life in a conversation around the death penalty.
One attendee spoke on their experience during the symposium.
It was a great discussion. It was a nice mix of students, a wide range of students. We also had faculty and staff here, and then a wide range of views from the different faith communities. And so I think anytime you can pull together a discussion like this, talk about some pretty tough things to think about, I think it's a good idea. I think we need to do more of this.
Antonio Reese, Troy TrojanVision News.